We're going to talk about it.
Well, if you can't control yourself.
We're doing it just like that on Freedom.
Mayor, how are you?
All right.
Getting back to the
Okay, that's the.
Did you get your, I don't know if you got it. I got doing my email.
Fraud letter? I didn't get one today yet, but I, and there's nothing wrong with that. She's gonna copy me on all of them.
Wait till the computer. It's over to 6 o'clock. Okay.
You have 3.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's all good.
Try to catch up to you.
It's all good.
They don't have the conference on there.
A 2 for 1 pregnancy. Yeah, 1 pregnancy, 2.
Well, it's due
Now
on
we
the
have
week.
others.
And that's what they said, if they don't get it by the pen, I will,
They just that's all
then
yesterday.
they'll print them out, and they'll contact them.
So
They don't.
Well,
January 9th.
maybe we need to have a committee meeting and have them talk to us.
Well, Brian,
All right, it is 6 o'clock, and I'd like to call the July 1st Ravenna City Council meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is a moment of meditation and silence. If you'd all join me with the reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, will the clerk call the roll?
Mr. Kelfie?
Here.
Ms. West? Here. Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood? Here. Mr. Maravich?
Here.
Ms. Michael? Here. Mr. Harper?
Here.
The next item is the approval of the City Council June 3rd meeting. Does anybody have any modifications, suggestions for those meeting minutes? If not, will someone make a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we had a letter as a communication from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, and this has to do with the permit that was transferred for the Parmar Oil Company over on Lake Street. Did we have any other communications? Okay. All right, so now we are up to the item of delegations from the public. Is Mrs. Chambers here? And again, if you could
Good evening.
try to limit to 5 minutes if you can.
Okay, that's fine, I won't take
Thank
5
you.
minutes. I would just like to follow up on my previous concern that I spoke about in the May City Council meeting regarding Park Avenue. I feel this subject has been put on the back burner, and it's not a priority for the Park Avenue taxpayers. This week, I watched as 2 garbage trucks had to go in reverse and back down my street on Park Avenue because, again, there were cars parked in the street and were blocking traffic from being able to get through. I've also noticed that on Hillcrest Street, which is a shorter street with only 6 houses, there's 3 signs that says no parking on it. I'm simply asking a couple road signs can also be put on Park Avenue to state either no parking or signs that have parking only on one side so that traffic is not blocked from being able to travel through, and that especially only emergency vehicles, garbage trucks, or utility vehicles will not be blocked from being able to travel through. I want to thank you and have a good evening, and I believe there are 2 other neighbors that would like to speak on this concern.
Okay, who were the other 2? Is Suzanne Moskin here?
Yes, I am.
Could you please come up and address council?
Good evening.
Evening.
There is a certain individual who is constantly parking on Park Avenue. This is a hindrance for those who drive on the street. There is plenty of room for him to park in the driveway. he was parking on the street in front of the house where he lives. Then after the police was called, because his car was blocking the flow of traffic, he then started parking on the opposite side of the street in front of other neighbors' houses. He just picks and chooses where he wants to park. Now he is parking in front of our house, which is a hindrance for our guests, our neighbors, and for ourselves. And when he comes home from work on Thursdays around 4:00 p.m., the car does not move until Monday morning between 4:00 and 4:30 a.m. When he parks his car, he parks it right on the edge of our yard. I am unable to mow the lawn. I can only mow when he is at work. When he came home today, he parked in front of our house again, and there was plenty of room for him to park in his driveway. He is causing an obstruction and a blind spot, constantly parking on the street almost 100% of the time. This is an ongoing problem that definitely needs to end because he just parks wherever he wants, and he parks in front of neighbors' homes. That's their parking. So we need no parking signs on both sides of the street, because if it goes on one side, he'll park on the other side. So it's just an ongoing problem that needs to end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moskin. And then is Cody Orris here? Oh, please step up to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've been living over on Park Avenue for last 3 years now. We moved, me and my wife, 2 kids moved in there in 2021. From the beginning, living there, parking really wasn't been an issue, but in the last year or so, it has been. On the southwest side of my property, which is right up against the road, I have a huge rut in my yard, and I can't even think about getting it fixed until there's no parking allowed at all. Whether if it's from the one individual, people having parties. I've planted 6 bushes out in front of my yard so that it keeps people off my grass, because again, like the other individual said, mowing is an issue, but I have a huge rut in my yard and it just makes it 10 times worse. So if we can get no parking on both sides of the street, Ravenna Avenue, I think my neighbors would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Karras, did we get the addresses on the folks that came up?
Did we?
My address is 1030 Park Avenue.
Mine is 1036 Park Avenue.
Thank you.
Mine's 1032.
I have a question. So I know you had spoke at the last meeting where it was one side you were asking for, and now you guys want 2 sides? Because if we put 2 sides,
Sign up there that there's no parking at all, like they have down on Hillcrest Street, then he would have to park in his driveway.
do you think that would
We have
that,
a company that is there on Sundays. I have 4 or 5 people in my driveway. We're all in my driveway. We're not parking on the road.
do you think that if that was looked at to put on both sides of the road, do you think that would upset the rest of the neighborhood as far as, or is it utilized a lot, or is it only utilized by this one individual?
It's utilized by him, and then there's another house down, 2 doors down from me that parks there 24/7.
Okay.
So I do believe that restricting parking on any road will require council action. Mr. Harper, are you willing to address this in your Streets and Sidewalk Committee?
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Moscom a couple weeks ago and told him we would put it in committee next week. For
Okay. And you folks are welcome to attend our meeting. We'll put it up first, right, Chelsea?
From what I
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
yeah.
oh,
Go ahead.
I have heard other comments, some other neighbors, they had chosen not to attend, and they're just, I'll just say it in a few words, they're just quite frustrated that nothing's been done, and he just picks and chooses where he wants to park on the street.
I don't think we could, I mean, and I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but the street is public parking. Like, someone can park in front of my house. That's not my parking
Yeah, but for
spot.
days?
There's no limit on it.
Well, I think you,
Is there a limit?
I think you have to move it every day or something, something like that.
So have you guys, are you guys contacting RPD to let them know that the cars are there? Just to kind of keep a record of it? Okay.
Yes, I contracted them, last week when the two garbage trucks had to back down the
Okay.
road because there was cars on each side, and they couldn't get through.
Because I know we've had an issue before, and they've been very helpful with it as far as stopping it. That's why I just wanted to make sure.
The way the
it's
ordinance
allowed.
reads, you can only do so much.
When he comes home on Thursdays at 4 o'clock, his car will sit there until Monday morning.
Okay.
Between 4 and 4:30 in the morning, it'll sit there. He will not move it
And he doesn't want to put it in the driveway where there's more than ample room.
in the driveway. And he's got plenty of room to put it in his driveway.
No, I hear you. I just wanted to clarify a couple. Thank you.
So my preference is that we address this during the committee meeting. Normally delegations, and we appreciate you bringing this to our attention, are to make us aware of things, but it's not the purpose of this meeting to debate what the outcome will be. So Mr. Harper will put it on the agenda, and you folks are welcome to attend the meeting on Monday. Like I said, we'll put the Streets and Sidewalk Committee up first, so you don't have to wait around. If you want to speak to this, we'll start at 6 o'clock. Okay, next delegation is from Mrs. Miller. Would you please come up and state your address for the record? You got to do something about lowering that microphone.
My name is Cynthia Miller. I live at 727 East Main Street, and I've prepared some short remarks. I've sent you all these remarks in email. These are abbreviated with a lot of information left out. I'm aware that some members of council are experiencing Locust Lane fatigue. Please believe me, any fatigue that you may feel cannot compare to the fatigue I have been made to feel as a citizen of Ravenna by the constant misdirection and delays I have been compelled to endure by bringing attention to this matter. I feel more and more with every day that this delay and misdirection has been purposeful and is pushing me in directions I do not wish to go. I respectfully ask that you keep an open mind. There is much at stake here for me and for my husband as longtime business and property owners in Ravenna, and there is even more at stake for the city of Ravenna itself. I'm here tonight to read into the public record the ordinances that I believe the city of Ravenna's administration has violated. This is most of the same information that can be found in my June 11th emailed letter to the administration and to council and copied to the Record Courier. Number 1, Ordinance 2003-139, and I will just be reading through these. Quoted in the June 7th, 2004 City Council meeting. Question, President Poland asked if this is with ingress and egress off of Locust Lane into and out of the parking lot. Answer, Mr. Bowen responded in the affirmative. Present at council that evening were Kevin Poland, Mr. Schaefer, Mr. Leonard, Mr. Timonia, Mr. Seaman, Mr. Brown, Mr. Ferguson, all elected officials of the city of Ravenna. Mr. Leonard moved to approve the ordinance as an emergency measure. The ordinance was seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Vote, all ayes. A motion was made by Mr. Schaefer, seconded by Mr. Brown. That ordinance 2003-139 was adopted. Vote, all ayes. The President of Council declared ordinance 2003-139 adopted. With this vote and the passage of this ordinance, Ravenna City Council deemed Locust Lane ingress and egress from Main Street, and egress north to Cedar. You could consider this to be Locust Lane Annex, having been sanctioned by the city. This ingress and egress was deemed to be by the city for 2 years? No. For 5 years? No. For 10 years? No. 15 years? No. For 19 years and 9 months, deemed to be by every successive council and administration until March of this year, in violation of 203-139. Number 2, ordinance 12-2004. The library project is on property zoned B4. Both the new gazebo structure and the new entrance to the parking lot at the corner of Elm and Locust are subject to obtaining a conditional zoning certificate. This is not new information for you. You all had this emailed to you from me on the 11th. The Planning Commission is required to ensure that any plan submitted for approval must follow all zoning ordinances. They did not. Number 3, ordinance 1274-02, line 6, and 127402C, line 2. As required on the application for the conditional zoning certificate, the library was required on its application to list the names and addresses of all the contiguous property owners as well as all the property owners across the street. The Planning Commission is required to notify all these contiguous property owners and all property owners across the street of the required public hearing that must follow every approved application. The library did not provide the Planning Commission with those names, and the Planning Commission did not give notice to any of the surrounding property owners. The Planning Commission did not hold a public hearing. It voted an approval recommendation at a regular meeting without public input. Number 4, ordinances 1274.04. There are a lot of subsets. You can look at this later. It's quite complicated. R4 allows as a conditionally permitted use a public library or a park or playground. Both uses are subject to section 1274.04 regulations pertaining to conditionally permissible uses. I've listed playground because the library has repeatedly stated their intention to use the structure for children's programming. The library structure and playground both require a 25-foot setback from all property lines. The library structure is 8 foot from Locust Lane property line and 7 foot from the Dominion East Ohio substation property line. If anyone here has ever had charge of a group of young children, you will agree that you cannot yell, "Stop," fast enough before a child can run 10 feet. Just to make sure you know, I'm going to show you 10 feet from where I am. 6 feet. 10 feet is where my foot is. A child can run that distance in an instant. In this case, they would be running out onto Locust Lane or Elm Street. Ordinance number 1274.04D. The new south entrance into and out of the library parking lot is at the corner of Elm and at the entrance to Locust Lane. Look, and it must be at least 100 feet from that intersection. Code allows for less than 100 feet at the intersection if it does not create a hazard. The new entrance from the library parking lot onto Locust Lane is an obvious hazard. It is placed less than 50 feet from the intersection with Elm, directly behind the American Legion's lawfully located brick building. Locust Lane is a very narrow, very old street. Even now, any size vehicle cannot turn onto Locust Lane from Elm at the same time any vehicle is leaving Locust Lane. The additional traffic from the parking lot added to this exact location is an obvious hazard. I'm at a loss to explain why there has been such lax oversight of this entire project. According to 126203 A, B, and C, I'm required as a resident to report any violations to the city, and the administration of the city of Ravenna is required to inspect and order corrections. I do not know yet how that will work. The administration, investigating the administration for possible violations by the administration. I don't know how that works. That concludes my remarks on the ordinances. I do have one comment. We have the company that supplies our medical gases, so nitrous oxide and oxygen, they call it an ESOP company. It's an employee-owned company. The employees are vested in the company. They share in the profits. They all work there. They work their way up. We have a new driver. I'm not going to tell you his name. Last Tuesday was our last delivery. A couple of weeks before that, when he had such trouble navigating Locust Lane, that was that awful video that I sent you from my cell phone. 7 people called the company from the library. It seems a coincidence that there are 7 board members, but 7 people, and I'm not saying it was the board members, but 7 people from the library called that company and threatened them for using Locust Lane. And they wanted to know the name of our driver, personally, who he was. I find that behavior inexcusable. That's a public lane. We've used it for more than 40 years for nitrous and oxygen delivery. It is a big truck. They not only deliver to hospitals and to industry, they also deliver to medical offices. I find that to be egregious behavior. They would call an employee-owned company and basically threaten the company and this poor young man who just started with the company a couple of months ago and is working his way up. He wants to become vested in the company and make a good living. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. I will ask if any other delegations are here that wish to speak tonight. If so, please come up, state your name and your address. And again, if you could, try to limit your remarks to about 5 minutes.
Okay. My name's Jim Majala. I live at 418 Oak Manor Drive in Ravenna. I had heard the details of this project, and it sort of made me wonder what has happened. Back in the late 80s, I've worked with the city of Ravenna because I was part of the team that had put in the expansion at the GE plant. And at that time, I think we worked with Mark Bowen. And until every question was answered and to their liking, I could not start that project. So when I heard about this project going, with so many red flag issues, I just had a wondering of how it got through all the council meetings, the board meetings, the committee meetings, without these problems first being looked at from the architectural drawings that had to be submitted for the project. So what happened? That's my question. What happened?
Just so you're clear, when a project like this comes before the city, it goes to the planning commission.
No, I understand that.
But,
I've gone through all that.
Right, but
I've
city
even
council
presented-
has no oversight of the planning commission.
I've even presented to the council when we first started the project in, I think it was 1988 for the expansion. We had to go through all those.
Well, there were streets that were vacated, there were other issues. None of those issues existed for the library
But
project.
what I'm saying is, once you do the architectural drawings, you know where the boundaries are at, you know where the easements are at, and you have to address those problems before you start laying brick and mortar.
I don't disagree with you, but that, again, that's the purview of the building department and the planning commission.
So that's my question. What went wrong?
Well, it has yet, by the way, just so people know, Mrs. Miller did submit in writing the concerns that she raised tonight, and there is an investigation by the building department to look into those various allegations of code violations. Report has not been written yet.
Okay. But like I said, we had to go through all the hoops before we built our warehouse, before the project even started.
Yeah, I mean, the proper process for how that, the library's project was approved did happen. Whether or not there were mistakes made have still been yet to be determined.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anybody else tonight wanting to, okay, yes. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Louis Dudek, 704 East Main Street, Ravenna. I came tonight to compliment the city on the paving project that's on Main Street. But I've also noticed because the road's now so smooth, that people are tending to go a little faster than what the speed limit is. And I'm sure you've had complaints about that, maybe you're not, maybe the police chief has.
Yeah, I don't know.
But my only question was, I mean, especially when they're coming down the hill from where Tractor Supply and Mark's is, they're trying to beat that light and then seeing how fast they can get to Freedom Street, okay? Tonight on the way here, 2 cars went through the intersection before I could make a left-hand turn on Main going north on Freedom to get out to Main Street. They went through the lights were red.
Really?
But anyway, my question is there a specific speed limit that has to be on Main Street? Is it possible that the city council people think about you've lowered the speed limit on some streets to 25. Okay, so if somebody goes a little faster than 25, but if you're saying 35, then they're gonna go 45. It's common sense, because they think they can go at least 10 miles without getting picked up. So the question I have is, why can't we think about lowering it to 25 miles an hour for every street in the city?
I don't
mean,
know.
I'm just throwing out
Yeah, no, it's,
a comment, okay?
I don't know the answer. It could be because some of those streets that are 35 are state highways, like 59, 88, 44, so forth. I don't know. I don't have the answer, to
I
be
know,
honest with you.
I'm raising the question so that your group can check into that, okay, or somebody can. The other thing is, I've noticed that people tend to throw their grass clippings into the street, and then when it rains, those are clogging up the catch basins. So I know I don't know if we have a city ordinance for that, or whether, I know there's a state rule about grass clippings being in the street, because they can cause an accident, especially with someone on a motorbike.
Yeah, it makes the road very slippery.
Correct. Okay. But I think the project's great. I'm sad to see that some of the brickwork uptown wasn't put on when they put the new ADA stuff compliant uptown. Not all the brickwork went back down.
On Freedom.
No.
No.
I'm talking about uptown, at all your intersections that were tore up to put the new ADA compliant pads in. If you look, there's a lot of brick missing that was there before. The contractor didn't put it back.
Oh, from the sidewalks and the aprons,
Yeah,
not the
down by
streets.
the
Oh, okay.
courthouse,
Okay.
different corners.
Oh.
I don't know if they're done yet.
That's the,
I don't know if they're completely done yet with some,
yeah, I don't think they're done yet either, right, Mayor?
They're gonna dig up the concrete they put down.
Yeah, it's all been,
It's concrete.
Concrete's all in.
removed or put, fresh concrete put down where bricks were.
okay.
They installed the 88.
Okay,
the
sorry, I was
bituminous
thinking,
field
because
when
I
you hit the end
know,
of the
I
intersection.
found out
And the
today
ADA,
that
that's
some
a
of the stuff
requirement. That's a
wasn't done
requirement.
yet,
Oh, so
that they
they
were
had to do
still,
it.
so
Yes.
I
Oh, I
apologize.
think-
No, that's okay.
It sounds like the answer is that they had to, it was required for them to put in the ADA compliant, what do we call it, entrance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they had to, I guess they had to get rid of the brick, I don't know.
I don't know that it
In
could
order to
lay,
put those-
to make it level
Right,
and
right,
slant at the
right,
appropriate rate.
That, so maybe we answered one of your questions.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak to City Council tonight? Okay, then we'll move on. In your packets, you have reports from officials. Does anybody have any questions or concerns, or would someone like to offer a motion to approve those reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved. Okay, next, reports from committees. Council committees will meet next Monday, July 8th at 6 PM. First up is utilities, Mr. Moskin.
At this point, there's nothing for next week.
Information systems, Mr. Maravich.
We don't have anything on the agenda for the coming meeting, but we'll be open to discussion.
Okay. Mrs. West, planning.
Nothing this evening, but we will be having a meeting.
Committee of the whole meeting will be July 22nd at 6 PM. Public health and safety, Ms. Michael.
I have a couple items on tonight, and I am going to be having a meeting. I do have one item for sure coming up.
Okay. Streets and sidewalks, I didn't forget this time, Mr. Harper.
One item this evening, and we will be having a meeting next Monday.
Thank you. Personnel, Dr. Calfee.
No meeting next week.
Community and economic development, Ms. Wood.
Yes, there's one item at least on the agenda tonight and to be determined for next week.
Okay. Cemetery, Mr. Harper, or Mr. Moscom, do you have anything to report from the cemetery board?
Business as usual. The storm came through Ravenna a couple weeks ago, devastated the cemetery just as it did on some city streets. We ended up losing 5 major trees from that storm. So we took a big hit with that. Luckily, the employees out there were able to clean up and remove most of the stuff on their own. So it wasn't a big expense, but it was a big loss. One of the trees had a beehive in it, so it, it took a few days for that to settle down before they could remove that one. So there's still some cleanup going on out there from that. So.
And there's still one, possibly two, that might be coming down. The company that takes care of that will be coming out soon to assess
Because of the
it.
damage from the storm?
Yes, one, you could tell it was a nice strike by lightning.
Ooh.
Nice, clean strike.
Okay, thank you. Parks and Recreation, Ms. West.
Yes, so summer camp is happening, and they've had an increase from last year for summer camp. And we're very fortunate this year. We have 2 Ravenna teachers actually running the summer camp this summer. So they put some different programming in. We have some folks that returned from last year to help with the summer camp, so that's gone really well. Also, the sports and programs have had an uptick in registration for spring and summer. On June 7th, they had their 3rd annual summer celebration along with the library. It was a rodeo theme. They had about, she said 2,800 people. I feel like there was much more than that. There was not a place to park at West Park on the street. It was fantastic. All the kids had a really good time. There was free snow cones. There was a petting zoo, all kinds of activities for the kids to do, and then they could sign up for their summer reading program. They also had their safety town. And then they're going to be joining us, I'm hoping Judy is going to be joining us next week for committee to talk about the building discussion for the Parks building. Finally, they're a little short-staffed, so kudos to Parks and Rec. They have some folks out right now, and during the busiest time of the year, they're short-staffed and they're hanging in there, so they're doing a great job.
Okay, thank you. Oh, next on the agenda is readings, first items on first reading for ordinances. Ordinance number 2024-80.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for the Ambulance to Ohio Ambulance Impacted Industry Program grant in the sum of $51,500 and to accept the grant if awarded and declaring an emergency.
Okay, so this is from Public Health and Safety, Ms. Michael?
Yes, we had talked about this in length. It's the $51,500 is broken up by $31,500, which that amount, I'm trying to remember, we have the $31,500, $20,000, $7,560. The breakdown here, it is providing the $1,500 to our current firefighters who work during the pandemic, which that amount is totaling $31,500. There will be a city's obligation of the pension part of that, which is the total of $7,560. And the $20,000 will be used for the general fund obligations for the fire department towards one of the, I believe, the $20,000.
It's the reimbursement.
Yeah, it's a reimbursement for the grant, or one of the firefighters that we had
correct.
hired, yes. So, again, kudos to the chief for going after this and being aggressive. And, you know, hey, our men benefit from it. I'm happy that they're gonna, you know, be able to walk away with an extra $1,500 as a result of it. So, I think it's a good thing to go ahead and pass.
Anybody have any questions or comments about this ordinance? Okay, is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
The ordinance contains an emergency clause. Would someone like to vote to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfy?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
That ordinance is passed. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-81.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hall Public Safety Upfitters to upfit 6 police cruisers and declaring an emergency.
Also from Public Health and Safety, Ms. Michael.
Yes, so there's a shortage of this that was budgeted for the uplifting of the new vehicles that purchased. Again, these are vehicles that, needed some uplifting to them for safety reasons. It was talked about, I think Tammy explained it well the last time, and Jake also explained it during committee meeting. I think this also needs to be approved.
Any questions or concerns about this ordinance? Is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
The ordinance contains an emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-82.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a 2-year contract with Garland Company to remove and replace the street department roof and declaring an emergency.
From Streets and Sidewalks, Mr. Harper.
It's exactly what it says. The reason it's a 2-year contract is because of the cost. We're breaking it down over 2 years, but the roof is in bad disrepair and needs replaced.
And I believe the information about the contracts and the scope of the work are included in your packet.
Warranty work, the style roof, all that's in the packet.
Correct. Anybody have any questions or concerns about this?
How soon might that be started approximately?
I have not heard a start date at this point.
Okay.
Other questions? Is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
The ordinance contains an emergency clause. Would someone like to make a motion to
So moved.
approve that?
Second.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-83.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Neighborhood Development Services, Tank Industry Consultants, and Caldwell Tanks to construct a new elevated water tank and appropriating $326,650 from the water fund and declaring an emergency.
And this was slightly amended before the meeting. Okay, this is from the Utilities Committee. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, this tank is drastically needed to replace the $2 million tank that's there. This tank will have the capacity of 750,000 gallons. The last time, when Mr. Finney was here, he said there was some slight negotiations of things that might possibly bring the price down a little bit. He wasn't sure until he was finished with that. Haven't heard anything different upon that unless,
He's not here tonight.
unless the service director might have heard anything different.
No, nothing different. It's just the base bids is what he was talking about negotiating.
Okay, thank you.
And there are, 3 different contracts, I believe, associated with this. Are any questions?
I did want to say that when it came out at last month's meeting, that this was a Kentucky company
Yes.
that had gotten this bid. The rumor started going around town that on the tank, it was going to say, Ravenna, y'all. Similar to the one in Florence, Kentucky that you see.
That is my favorite water tower. I take a picture of
ru-
it every time I go.
The
by.
rumor may have been started by someone up here at the,
yeah.
but
It's red and white. I said we need to make it blue and white.
we've confirmed that it's not going to say Ravenna, y'all.
Well, that's too bad. Other comments or questions about this ordinance? Is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
The ordinance contains an emergency clause. Is there a motion to adopt it?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-85.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor, upon the approval of the Ohio Public Works Commission, OPWC grant of $250,000 and loan of $50,000, to enter into the necessary contracts, including the contract with Florido Construction LLC for the Spruce and Jefferson Waterline Project, and declaring an emergency.
This is also from the Utilities Committee. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, on Spruce, this will go between Maplewood and Diamond Streets. On Jefferson, this will be between Main and Spruce. This will also include all of the hydrants, the valves, and also the curb boxes, which would be, some might be in the yard, some are in the Devil Strip with this project.
And this is to apply for the grant, correct?
Yes.
Questions or concerns about this ordinance? We have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the emergency clause?
So moved.
Yes. Second.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-86.
5.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, 85.
did I go past one?
85.
85.
I'm sorry. No, wait, that's when we're on, right?
Now we are.
Yeah.
We
no.
just did 84.
This is for the CDBG Capital Improvement Grant.
The other one was for the contracts.
Oh, I got ahead, sorry. 2024-85.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for a CDBG Capital Improvements Grant for the Jones Avenue Storm Improvement Projects and declaring an emergency.
This is also from Utilities. Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Another grant.
This is for a project to, being optimistic, hopefully to eliminate the majority or all of the flooding problems. This would be going from West Park School east to almost Oakwood Street. It would be increasing the diameter and helping the flow go much easier in those areas.
Okay.
And
Questions? I'm sorry.
yes, hopefully that can be, if this goes through, hopefully that can be started by optimistically saying very much next spring.
Okay. Questions about this ordinance? Do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-86.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Eastern Power and Gas for the City of Ravenna Natural Gas Aggregation Program for the period of October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
This is also from Utilities, Mr. Moskin.
Yes, the service director, I believe, has the latest numbers from the company for this gas aggregation.
Yeah, the latest is for 24 months, it went up to 3.95.
So instead of
was it-
saving it,
Was it 3.85 when I first introduced the tracking sheet? Now it's at 3.95 over 24 months.
and I believe that's up a penny from what we
Yeah.
have right now.
You got it, so.
And it could change by, or? how
No,
do we
we're locked in now.
Okay, okay, we're
I'm gonna
locked in
send
now.
this in
Good.
right when we get done with this, hopefully.
Okay, cool. Other questions or concerns about this ordinance? If not, then is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And is there a motion to approve the emergency clause?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-87.
An ordinance adopting the 2025 tax budget for the City of Ravenna and declaring an emergency.
This is sponsored by the Finance Director. Ms. Lawrence, could,
Yes, this is just a yearly thing that we have to do for the county to get the tax budget there by July 20th.
are there questions? We did kind of, she gave us a really nice overview at our last meeting. And I think you have the essentials of the budget in your packets, or were given them a couple of weeks ago. Are there any questions about the budget? If not, is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Do you have a question?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
please.
sorry. Please, go ahead.
Just real quick, the RLF UDAG, the appropriation amount of the 833,970, what is that for?
Part of what's in the 219 is the Ravenna-Rootstown JED that's coming in and out.
Gotcha. It just, I forgot that that was in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there a motion? Did somebody make a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Was there a second?
No.
I'll second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And is there a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. There are no ordinances on second reading, and we have one ordinance on third reading. That's ordinance number 2023-133, the long-awaited contract.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Administration Agreement with the State of Ohio, Ohio Department of Development, Office of Community Infrastructure as required by the State of Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
And this is from Community and Economic Development. Ms. Wood?
Yes, this is housekeeping requirement from the Ohio Department of Development, or Development Services Agency, in order to maintain and hold the revolving loan funds from several of our programs. It is a requirement to have this contract with the state for the administration agreement. They finally got it to us about 6 months too late. We've talked about it numerous times, and they want it back like next week.
And it is backdated, isn't it? if I
Yes,
read
it will be
right?
backdated to January 1st.
Are there questions about this ordinance? Hearing no questions, is there a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And is there a motion to approve the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. That concludes the readings of ordinances on third reading. Is there any old business for City Council? Hearing none, then we will move on to new business. We do have some new business. Dr. Calfee wants to present an item for us to consider.
And
And he's going to go do it over there because he needs to plug in his computer.
I asked Mr. Karas for some time this evening under new business to talk about sidewalks. Thank you, Mr. Karas, for that. And I believe it will only take about 10 to 15 minutes to talk about the sidewalks tonight. I moved to Ravenna 21 years ago when I was superintendent of schools here and moved into the 4th Ward. One of the things we really like about Ravenna and the neighborhood, we were able to walk the streets and sidewalks a lot, which was great. We enjoyed it quite a bit. In our neighborhood, some places don't have sidewalks, and you kind of walk in the street there, and that's okay, you know, we do that. And in other places, the sidewalks are there, and in some of those places, the sidewalks were a little uneven, and people would walk then in the streets, even though the sidewalks were there. As we walked around, we saw some places where there were some sidewalks that needed some serious repair, and, you know, it's spots where the sidewalk was that you might have to just completely walk around. Fast forward to 5 years ago, when I ran for council, you know, we put down, League of Women Voters have a little questionnaire about what are some things you'd like to work on to try to get goals accomplished. And one of the things I put down was want to work on the sidewalks to kind of upgrade the sidewalks, make them a little bit better, improve them. And fast forward then to last year, I filled out the same form when I was running for council again from the League of Women Voters, and I put down, I want to try to work on the sidewalks some. And I felt, wow, I hadn't done much to kind of push that forward. I want to talk about it. You know, last fall, as I was getting signatures to run for council again, I had several constituents ask, well, you know, when are we going to fix some of these sidewalks? And they talked about certain places in the neighborhood that we wanted to do. And recently, I had a constituent that said, you know, I like walking around the neighborhood. It's great. I have a child. We walk with stroller, but we can't walk on Riddle. We can't get from our house over to Mark's on Riddle, and because of the sidewalks. So those are a lot of things about the sidewalks. And why now? Trying to talk about them now. I think it's an issue that if we don't work on it, we'll go a few more years and we'll still have some sidewalks that need to be fixed up and need to do better with. I'm going to show some pictures and talk about some of the places. And before I do, I want to make sure that as I'm talking about this, I'm not complaining about any office, department, person, administrator, or any person in the city. My goal is just to try to work together to make the city a better place to live, work, shop, and play. And so we want to do that. So I think up on the screen, the pictures I had to share for you, mostly of them are from the 4th Ward, and all of them, there's one that's not, and they're all 3 or 4 blocks from our house. So this you can kind of get a look at. This is on Riddle, and that's about 6 inches up on the complete right-hand side of it here. There's multiple spots that it's uneven along through here. This is one that's been there for years, and we've kind of walked around it, et cetera. So there's some like that. You know, other places we have them like this, that a section of the sidewalk is just gone, deteriorated. Not sure if it's because of water underneath it, poor concrete, what actually the issue is, but we have them that kind of look like that. This is the broken up sidewalk. It's kind of where a driveway crosses. It's completely not navigable when it's broken up like that, and it is a safety issue. And as we talk about these, I think a lot of them, it's a safety issue. It's an issue that we want to improve the neighborhoods. We want to make the quality of life with walkable neighborhoods better, and something that we should work on. We've got this in lots of places. This is another Riddle Avenue spot. I'm sorry, you can't see that. I need to make that bigger. And so that's kind of a dangerous situation there, and there's multiple of these. This is a Freedom Street. This is multiple places where it's heaved up, and you can see that. And when I'm using the 4th Ward, I'm not saying that this is the only place that we have the issues. I think in each person's ward, if you walked and looked around, you might have a number of places that are similar, that you've known about, that you see that need to be fixed. This is another Freedom Street one. You can see this is a huge tree, and we love the trees, and the trees are great. In some places, they heave up the sidewalk, and when they do that, even in this place, the sidewalk was kind of stretched around the tree years and years ago. You see where they put a curve on the sidewalk when they put it in, but the tree's gone ahead and heaved up over the next few years. There are multiple places in the city when we fixed a problem like that by making the sidewalk going out around the tree and saving the tree. So that's not an unusual thing to do. I did say that most of the pictures were in the 4th Ward. This one is actually in the 2nd Ward, and this is a picture of a city-owned property of where the old high school was. And the sidewalk here is a danger, tree problem again, and you know, just lots of times we have kids that are riding their bikes on sidewalks, and you get by that, and that's a dangerous situation. The last slide I want to show you is one of the problems we have is the sidewalk slabs are okay, they're good, they're intact, but they're a little bit uneven. And so there is a way that we can fix the sidewalks with grinding them down and bringing them to level. This is a picture from on the school grounds, and we did this about 15 years ago, where we ground down every sidewalk that was uneven from above 1 inch, so that we could grind it down if the slab was still okay. That is a solution for some of our problems. The question is, how do we repair the sidewalks? How are we going to do it? You know, we can say that it's the citizens' responsibility for them to take care of their sidewalk. And I believe that's true. It's their responsibility. And many citizens
have done this. They have repaired a section of the sidewalk or the whole sidewalk. You see it around all the time that they have done it, or a business owner has done it. But lots of places now, that has not happened. And it's not happened, and I don't know if it's because we don't have a way of notifying the people, hey, you gotta fix the sidewalk, what we need to do with it. The city fixes sidewalks sometimes, especially when we go through and do a new water or sewer project. And many of the places when we've done new water or sewer, we fix the sidewalks all on those streets, and you've seen some streets like that. And then sometimes when the tree's pushing up the sidewalk and it gets noticed, the city will fix that. I believe because this tree in the Devil Strip is the city's tree, and then they have some responsibility for that. So we get them fixed that way. I'm proposing that we actually make a bigger project of this than what we have done in the past. Because if we do the same that we've done in the past, we may not get much done on it. So what are other things that we can do? Well, one thing we could do is we could evaluate all the sidewalks in the city right now, noting all of those that need repair, and we could contact homeowners and then try to follow up. We could do that. That's one thing that we could do. Another thing that we could do is we could evaluate all the sidewalks and fix immediately those egregious problems that I showed you, some of the pictures that are like drastic problems that need fixed. This one, this one, you know, we could do that. And I think one of the things we could do is we could allot money from the street income tax fund that we have. I believe that when we put this, that income tax fund for funding of the streets, I believe that sidewalks is a permissible use for some of that money. And we have gone through for a number of years now and fixed up the streets. You know, we've done that and quite successfully. That fund brings in about $1,300,000 a year, and it has gone into streets. But if we wanted to, we could move into a program where we would attempt to repair, improve, and update a number of these sidewalks. An example might be we could allocate $50,000 a year to each ward in the city for 5 years. $50,000 to each ward in the city for 5 years. That's $200,000 for 1 year. 5 years, that's $1 million that we could put into it. That amount of money would fix a lot of sidewalks, would improve a lot of sidewalks. The reason for a request for such a drastic measure is because we're behind on it, okay? After we did this, we could move on to streets that didn't have sidewalks and would like to have sidewalks, and we could work on those. So I do, to back up, I want to say, I think there is something, a program in the city where when someone replaces a sidewalk or a section of a sidewalk, there might be some cost sharing of it, but I have never heard of anyone using it. I've not personally experienced it, and so I guess that's out there, but I don't know what we want to, how we want to handle it. I know I'm rambling on right now. I'm almost done. If we take money from the street fund to do it, everybody in the city that works is paid into that fund. So it's not like we're taking over somebody's responsibility. They should fix their own sidewalk. They paid taxes on that. Whoops, I'm sorry. They paid taxes on that, and maybe that is a good use of those tax dollars. With that, I'm bringing this forward. I tell you, I've walked on some of these streets here for years, and the sidewalks are still in bad shape. And I just want us to work together to try to improve it, not only in the 4th Ward, but throughout the city, and do it for the reasons of safety, improvement of the quality of life, and the improvement of our neighborhoods. And Right now, at the end of the presentation, I would say, hey, let's do this, or let's do that. I have no idea how we're gonna do it. I just think we need to do it. We need to work on it. And so that's all that I had on that, unless anybody had any questions on it.
Thank you, Tim. But there are grants. I used to actually write the grants myself when I was at Neighborhood Development Services that did quite a bit of the sidewalk infrastructure alongside some of the other programs. The other thing is, I've been saying for years, and I know, Mayor, you've heard me say it before, that I wanted us to start going for Safe Routes to Schools programs. With that, through ODOT, there is hard money grants available to assist with sidewalks, especially around the K through 8 school buildings, which we have several. That's a good start. I would rather see us start with the grants and see what we can do and how far we can go before we try to tap into the street levy, because there are several streets, especially on the west side, that have, they need a lot of love. And there's gonna be some, financial need there. But I do agree. The other thing too is that when I've brought sidewalks up previously, I know I used to talk to Kay about it, and I was always told it is the homeowner's responsibility. The city won't touch it unless it's at least a 2-inch difference. And then the city can look at it, but.
And Cheryl, I appreciate all of those comments. I do think that there may be some places with grant money that's available, but if we look at the amount of grant money that we could get with the amount of problem that we have now, I think using grant money can be a supplement, but it cannot pay for all the things that need to be done.
No, but it's a good start.
It's a good start, but I would offer to say that we need even a bigger.
I would like to see some of the streets on the west side get addressed, and then we can start talking about using that money for sidewalks.
Well, and I don't want to debate or argue about it right now. I just want to talk about that I think the sidewalks need to be improved. And we need
Just
to
get a little clarification. The current, Tim, do you know, is it like an 80-20 split or something like that if a resident wants to replace sidewalks? Do you know?
It just depends on, it actually is the concrete. We'll pay for the concrete, they pay for the labor.
Oh, okay.
That's basically the program.
And is that a policy or is that an ordinance? Because if it's a policy, that's one thing, but if it's an ordinance, something council can change.
Well, ordinance basically deals with the repair sidewalks, which is the budding property owners deal with the actual repair sidewalks, unless it's a tree issue. I mean, we pay for that. But this is just an alternative sidewalk program from our engineering department.
Yeah.
Which I would say was a policy.
And I think too, Tim, I think a good point is that there's so many. I want to say thank you for taking that time and being proactive and, making a difference in our neighborhoods, because I know a lot of those sidewalks look like my neighborhood as well. And they're everywhere. And how do you address so many? Because sidewalks are just as important anymore as roads, because there's so many people that are walking nowadays. And I know myself had a big tumble as a result of our sidewalk out front today, and it wasn't fun, at this age. So I can, empathize with, somebody who might fall on one of these sidewalks, because it can be life-changing. But again, most homeowners are probably just barely making it now. And to be able to one of the last things I think they're going to look at is, I'm going to pay for the sidewalk, the way the budget, the economy is, groceries, so forth. A lot of the homeowners, I think, are just probably barely making it in some of these areas. And I think to, expect them right now to make a choice between buying groceries or you paying the utilities, I don't think you're going to get them to want to pay for a sidewalk right now. But so I like the idea on maybe allocating money per ward. That was something that, I liked that idea real well. And I think we have to start and ward by ward, and get a it's a start what you brought, so.
And it may be that we want to do our sidewalks just like we did our streets. That we went through and on a rubric evaluated all the streets to see which ones need to be paid
Yeah.
first, second, third, make a priority. Maybe we have to do that. It's the very same thing with our sidewalks. My point, which I want to emphasize again and again, though, is unless we make a big effort toward this,
Right.
we're not going to get anywhere. I think we are a little behind. We need to improve on it. Maybe this big expenditure can happen for 5 years and get us back up into pretty good shape and then go on to a different thing. It may be that we need to use the street money to do it because of the things that you say. So many people can't afford it, so many of those problems. And that money for those streets came from taxes too. So, yes,
Well-
thank you for that comment.
Well, I know a lot of people, I've been told this myself, that they believe the money for the street should be used to fix the streets, resurface them, things of that nature. And I know a lot of people won't be pleased taking tens of thousands to put towards sidewalks. The pictures that you had shown, plus I'd seen a multitude in the past when I was working full-time, a lot of those sidewalks are damaged because of tree roots. The trees that are there, it's the type of trees that the roots don't go down. I mean, down deep, they go out, they heave the sidewalks. They also push and do damage to the curb boxes for utilities. And so the trees where they're planted, for the most part, will cause a lot of those problems. So you planted the wrong type of tree there, and then in some years down the road, bam, there goes the sidewalk. I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times, and I'm agreeing with what Mrs. Michael said. A lot of people won't be excited saying, you have to pay for this, we're going to assess you. I've heard a lot of people saying the way the prices have gone up drastically in the past few years, a lot of people don't have the extra cash to fork over for those things. And then when they find out, well, you want to use, as an example, what you said, 50 grand a year for each ward. I believe that won't go over that great. And I've seen, just like Madison, Jefferson, some have heaved up a lot worse than those pictures you had shown. I mean, like this, and
My belief is, if they have been heaved up all over the place, we need to fix them all over the place.
yeah, but the money has to come from somewhere
That's
else
what I
into
believe,
taking
and
money
so-
out of streets that's
Well,
taxable.
I think that's what council will have to decide. Each council member will have to decide, is this an expenditure in the budget that we want to do? Is this important for us? So everybody has a different opinion on it. There may be enough people that believe that we need to put money into the sidewalks. I believe it's a real quality of life issue. I think it's a neighborhood improvement issue. And I think if we talk about, oh, it's gonna be expensive to fix them, if not now, when?
Well,
And so
you
that's
have
my
to-
question, and
You have to figure out where to get the money from a proper source, not from,
So really quickly, just wanted to add, the amount of money that you're saying, if we just look back at the last 3 years, how much money we spent to fix such a small, which I'm not saying it's great, but that small area of Freedom that we fixed over
It could have
3
been
years.
used to do a lot of sidewalks.
That could have been used to do a lot. So when you look at that, we use that to fix Freedom to make a small area better, and this could be used to make a lot of areas throughout the city better. So, I hear what you're saying, that people might not be happy with sidewalks, but I bet a lot of people in the city weren't happy that we spent so much money to fix a small area of Freedom too. So we're not gonna be able to make everyone happy
well,
with that.
what I'm saying is they'd be happier putting the money toward resurfacing.
Putting it towards streets.
Sure.
Yes,
But the
exactly.
street, the brick street that we did cost how much?
$900,000.
It was a lot of money,
a little
so,
over 900,000.
yeah.
You know,
So-
I don't want to,
Yeah,
I
I
don't want to
think-
keep arguing it.
yeah,
There's a lot of people out there that want their sidewalks
Yeah.
fixed, so.
100%.
I think this is, thank you.
I'm not
Dr.
going to argue, I'm stating some facts.
So, thank you, Mr. Moskin. Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Calfee. I do believe this is an important issue. And I think one concern I think we probably all share is if we don't address something like this now, it'll just get worse over
Right.
time. So, we'll figure out a way to plan around your suggestion. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. I think it's definitely something we need to talk
Cliff
about
has his
further.
hand up.
I'm sorry?
Cliff,
Oh, okay. If you'd
You wanna
like to
stand
step
up,
up to
Cliff?
the podium and give your name and address? Yes, I'm asking you to.
whoa.
Just, I was involved trying to get that levy passed for the streets. And it was not easy. Now, that was because people complained about their streets were tearing their cars up. I understand that people are worried about walking on them, but that money was put there to fix streets, and we have not completed that yet. There's a lot of streets out there that aren't completed. I think that that thing about the sidewalks attached to using that money for the streets was when they redid a street, like they did on Freedom Street North.
Yeah.
They had to fix some of the gutters, the storm sewers, and some of that money went with that. But putting it all towards sidewalks is not wrong. My thought is, if you want to do that, if you guys want to be real popular, go ahead and try to assess them, okay? Go ahead and tell them it's theirs. No, that's what I want you guys to do first.
But that's what, we've
That's
already
what I'd
done
like
that.
you to do.
Yeah.
I think we've already done that, though. I think we've already
That's what I'd like
established
you to do
it.
first, and so you can get the phone calls.
Yeah, no, I know what you're
Instead of
saying.
grabbing the money from here that was meant for something else.
Yes.
Yeah, well, let,
I'll send some emails, so I won't take any more of your
no, thank you, Mr. Sotol. No, yeah, let me just make a comment, though. I do think it's too early to be debating where the money comes from. Mrs. Miller, would you like to make a comment? Yeah, please come up so the microphone will pick you up. There are people online who may be listening.
Okay. We were assessed for our sidewalk. This was when Mark Bowen was in office, and we had a couple of panels replaced, and we were assessed. We paid for it. Not everybody has the funds to do that, and that is a problem. We also have one of those curved sidewalk pieces from a tree that's no longer there. So if you need it somewhere else, take that and just put a straight one in. Also, there are hydraulic foam repairs for driveways that can, if you have a driveway that's tilted, you can actually lift a driveway.
Right.
It might be wise for maybe streets and sidewalks, someone contact a couple of those companies and tell them you want some samples.
Yeah,
Pick the most egregious sidewalks, see if they can fix them.
yeah. I don't think we're going to solve it tonight, but I do believe it's a worthwhile topic to investigate. So thank you for everyone who contributed to that. I don't believe we have any other new business, so we will move on. The next item on the agenda is President of Council remarks. I will be brief. I just wanted to give a short update on our comprehensive plan. We have a task force that's moving forward. Ms. Wood is on it. And I just wanted to thank a few people, certainly the task force members, the Portage County Planning Commission, Regional Planning Commission have done a lot of work to help us move along. And I also want to mention that we have some I think they're volunteers, or at least people putting some time and effort into it. I'm not going to give like the reveal of some of the things we're doing, because I think associated with the actual plan itself, there will be some interesting other things. Surprises, okay. But I did want to mention John Wood, your husband.
JW Photography.
Right, very, very talented, extremely talented.
Thank you.
I was very impressed with the work he's helped contribute to this plan. So right now we're in the midst of mapping out some goals and objectives. Some of them may be short-term, 3 to 5 years. Maybe some of them perhaps even longer, 5 to 10 or even 10 and beyond years. So we're moving along. It's a really good project. I think it's going to have a big impact on the city moving forward. And I just wanted to keep council aware, because at some point we will be presenting the plan to council, and you'll have your opportunity to see what's going on and contribute to it. We had a meeting a week ago tonight. Was a special council meeting, more of a work session, where we talked about how we can improve what we do here in our meetings. And I think we discussed openly a lot of good suggestions. I will be bringing the results of that discussion to the Planning Commission next week. And we still haven't resolved everything, so we can do it all in one night. But hopefully we'll move along some of the issues, and you'll have, some of you weren't able to attend, I understand that. But we will discuss at the planning committee meeting some of these ideas to see if we can improve how we conduct our meetings. And then we have 2 off nights this month, and we'll see how we might fill those nights with some other really exciting activity. That's my comments for tonight. I'm going to start down on this end tonight, and Mr. Harper, would you like to make any remarks for tonight?
Nothing additional this evening.
Okay. Ms. Michael?
I think I'll be quiet tonight.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes, just a few remarks and following with some sidewalk stuff, conversation. So as the ordinance is written, like I know nobody wants to pay for sidewalk things, but that is how it's written. So the service director, so under 1022.01, all owners of abutting lots shall keep the sidewalks in repair within city limits. The service director makes the discretionary call on whether that needs repair. They have 15 days from notifying the property owner, and that work needs to be done, and there's other things there too. So I do like the idea of grant work, but I do feel that we kind of need to have kind of an assessment, because I come from a background in public transportation, and like, it even, like, people can be disabled temporarily, even for short-term things. My father recently had a hip replacement, and that changed the way he walks, and those kind of things, if you have a risk and you fall while you have a hip replacement, that can cause issues as well. And there's more complex medical comorbidities that we have as we all age. So ideally, you want your sidewalks to be a safe place and, you know, within ADA range, if you don't have transportation services, getting to stops and things like that, that's important for people. Just as you age, mobility becomes more of a challenge. So with that, I'd like to say that on Dr. Calfee's behalf, like, I think it would be wise to inventory the nature of the sidewalks and the quality, so when we have these concerns, we have an ability to look at these and prioritize where are the most egregious ones. Worst first, how many counts? Can we, to Mrs. Miller's comment, can we more affordably make repairs rather than completely redo something? So evaluating that in a functional standpoint would be a path I'm highly recommending. And then in terms of finding grants and different things, like the Path to Schools, we can leverage those different jurisdictions where we can get ODOT money to help offset this cost for both homeowners in the city overall. So I do think it's an important thing, and I look forward to discussing that in committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maravich. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, the only reason I made my comments about the sidewalks is because I've worked there, seen a lot over the years. So I'll just leave it at that part for right now. And the thing that I'm glad that's offered here at this council meeting is for residents to express their own beliefs, no matter how it is. That way we can hear things as a whole body and to actually go from there.
Thank you. Dr. Calfee?
No additional comments, thank you.
I'm going to completely change it up and not talk about sidewalks. So we had an amazing time at our 225th celebration, but I feel like it needs to be a celebration year and not just a one-time thing. So I was kind of looking at some other events, and I am planning on setting up a tent. I have to reach out to Ravenna Rocks on August 10th. So I talked to Chelsea. We have all kinds of swag left over that we can hand out, trying to work on some things that we can hand out. I'm going to open that up to any city employees that want to volunteer, maybe do some shifts. Thinking some free snow cones or something, to be able to hand things out and be a face for the city at one of our events downtown. Also thinking for the balloon affair as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know I had started kind of working on that. That would be something fun to do, to be able to meet different residents, not have to stay the whole day, maybe do 2-3 hour shifts would be helpful for anyone that can help. So look for some emails. Yeah.
I heard there's a really good band playing that night.
Are you playing that night? See? You won't get stuck making snow cones. I could sit there and do that all day. It's so fun to me, so.
Ms. Wood?
Yes, the only thing I want to say is very thankful for the members of the Akron-Cleveland Association of Realtors that not only provided a small grant for our new Pocket Park, but also joined the realtors from Remax Pathway to come out last Friday, and we spent the afternoon planting 25 boxwoods and mulching in the Pocket Park. And we're looking forward to the sod being installed this week, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I believe as soon as the pergola and arches are ready, it'll be the finishing touch. So hopefully by the third week of July, everything should be in place. And as much as I don't like it to rain, hopefully after that sod goes in, we get some rain. But
Did you guys do those rocks that were down there?
actually, that was NDS, part of their Neighbor Works Week.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
really cool.
it's really neat. So once it comes together, I think it's going to be an amazing little park for us to have. And I just want to thank everybody who spent their time and donated and was a part of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the last item on our agenda tonight is mayor's remarks. Bring us home, Mayor.
I'm just going to mention one. Got the email today that the Mr. Finney, working with the people with Supergood, the state has they've been licensed by the state now to do the recreational marijuana. They're not allowed to sell it yet. There's one more step. It's an operational type of thing. But we're trying to get a handle on this, and we're looking. There's not a lot we have control over with this. It's basically what the state says. There is an ingredient in the thing I got today, and I haven't had time to analyze the whole thing. But they do have to have communications with the city through the police, the mayor's office. And that has to be part of what they submit to get the operational thing. So I am assuming I'll probably be asked to meet with them before too long. But I know there's a lot of concern about this, and we'll try and keep on top of it. Hopefully, they'll get a change of heart about sharing the funds, but I have a feeling they're all going to Columbus.
Well, there haven't been any
That
bills
hasn't been
passed to
approved yet.
change the tax, the income tax yet, but there's a few on the pipeline that could eliminate local tax revenue. Is that it?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Okay, well, that concludes the agenda. I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting tonight.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go home.